Is Tony Elliott still hedging on what he's going to do at quarterback? Chris Graham here, Augusta Free Press. If it was close, and it sounds like it was, UVA football coach Tony Elliott probably should go with Anthony Colandrea as a starting quarterback. Colandrea is a sophomore with 3 years to grow into the role and to, become the quarterback of the present and future at UVA. The guy that Colandrea beat out for the job, Tony Muskett's a fifth-year senior, and Muskett and Colandrea had very similar numbers last year. And again, I imagine just based on the descriptions from Tony Elliott and Des Kitchings, the offensive coordinator from training camp this year, it was a close battle. Not going to understand why. Again, they put up such similar numbers last year, and in both starting 6 games last year, they both have a lot of experience running this system. But fair or not, Muskett, whose college career is over in a couple of months, would need to be head and shoulders better than Colandrea to get the starting job. I think that's a fair assessment. So here's what Elliott had to say in his Tuesday press conference about the battle. These guys battled every single day. It was extremely close. And it came down to, okay, now we're going to look back at fall camp, and every day, every rep, not just the live reps, just the reps away from the defense, everything was evaluated. And it was very, very close. So there you go. I mean, that's what Elliott had to say. Now, this is a decision that Elliott desperately needs to get right. He's entering year 3 as a head coach, and the old rule of thumb of the college football coach was you don't make a call on his tenure until he's had 5 years. But with the money that is in college football being what it is now, and Elliott not only coming off back-to-back 3-win seasons, but UVA Athletics telling us through a public records request that I did, actually a couple of public records requests that I did back in the spring and summer, season ticket sales are at a 30-year plus low. There is no margin for error this year for Tony Elliott. And I've even brought up how the success that is anticipated for Brent Pry down at Virginia Tech, a dark horse candidate to be an ACC title game participant this year, that might even put more pressure on Elliott. I think it does. Now, there was already a sense floating around with staff that Elliott should have made a call on his quarterback sooner to give whoever was going to be named the QB1 the chance to build more rapport with the first team offense in training camp. To that point, it still sounds like Elliott's hedging, and this is something that we picked up in the Tuesday presser. And that's frustrating when you hear him say things like he did on Tuesday that, quote, everybody in that locker room and in our program understands we're going to need both of them. We're going to need both those guys to go out and win football games. That kind of makes it sound like Colandrea is either on a short leash or that Elliott's thinking about building a game plan around shuttling Colandrea and Muskett into the lineup at different times in the game against Richmond tomorrow night. And if you're thinking the latter is the case, you wouldn't be disabused of that notion when you consider that Elliott seemed to further hedge in the presser, saying, where we're at right now is AC will be the first one to run out there against Richmond. Now, he's saying first one to run out there against Richmond. What's he saying there? Please don't let that be the case that he's actually planning to run both of them out there. In the next breath, Elliott went on to say that the expectation is they continue to compete every single day because that's what's going to bring out the best version of each one individually and then collectively. They're going to help each other put their best foot forward daily because they know their value. I hope what Elliott's saying there is Colandrea is my guy, but if he gets hurt, hey, we're lucky to have a guy like Muskett who has won games here as our backup. And not what I'm afraid he's saying, which is if Colandrea has a bad series, a bad practice, who knows? Maybe I go with Muskett. Best case scenario, Colandrea has a solid game in the opener. Virginia wins comfortably. Muskett gets a few fourth quarter snaps and mop up duty to execute a few handoffs, and we start thinking about Wake Forest. Worst case, let's not even go there. Hey, if you have anything for me, please email me at chris@augustafreepress.com.